Welcome, everyone. You're listening to I Heart Life, the How-To of Spiritual Living, Episode 7, Resistance and Flow. I'm your host and spiritual living coach, Yvette Bowlin, and I'm dedicated to help you live a life of freedom, clarity, peace, and joy. Each week, through discussions, Q&A, interviews, and more, we'll dive into practical strategies on how to live our best life. If you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Your happily ever after awaits your move. And now for the show. So we talked a lot about the benefit of breath in the last few weeks. Taking a moment to breathe deeply, to calm ourselves, to rejuvenate ourselves, and to clear out all the gunk and blockages that keep us from being fully present in this moment. Breath is powerful. Oxygenates our blood and organs. Every cell in our bodies uses oxygen to renew itself. We can't see breath, most times don't even feel it if we're in our normal trance of everyday life, but we keep on breathing. To actually notice and feel breath going in and out of your lungs, feeling you, nourishing you, energizing you, knowing it's what keeps you alive, that's to be present. That's us witnessing an everyday miracle, our breath working on our behalf. We can witness the same thing about the universe, about the divine, about God, that God is working on our behalf, beyond what the eye can see. Anytime you feel overcome with gratitude, wrapped in love, or taken over in laughter, that's your first-hand experience of the divine working in your life. And as easy to see as noticing your breath. God works through us, for us, and as us, just as our breath moves through us, for us, and as us. We are the breath of life. To return to breath is to return to that place of divinity inside us. And this is how we refuel and reset our focus. Breath, since we rarely think about it, prevent it from coming, or make a big deal about it, represents flow. Breathing is going with the flow. Moving with the universe and letting the divine lead us upon our best path. We don't know what the best or the worst could possibly be from our limited vantage point anyway. We only see what is, what's happening now, and we interpret it however makes sense given our most recent understanding of things. The only time we're able to see clearly or perceive the divine in everything is when we are calm and centered. So breath is flow. If we were to suffocate ourselves, we wouldn't be able to breathe. We'd be cut off from our lifeline, oxygen. Same goes when we figuratively suffocate ourselves. Our dreams, our aspirations, our loved ones, or let someone else suffocate us. We cling to that which keeps us stuck. We hold fast to a sinking anchor, preventing growth and forward momentum. We harp, we complain, we decide it's unfair. We stay submerged and we drown. Suffocation is really just disguised confusion, and it comes from fear and expectation, trying to control people and outcomes, fearing the unexpected and expecting the fear. We expect things to be predictable, and if they don't work out like we imagined, or they don't look like daisies and rosebuds, it's all a frustrating disaster. We don't accept change, unexpected surprises, especially if they're not what we planned for or built a schedule around. We expect everything to go just as we think it should. But what if how they should isn't how they would if we only knew what could happen? Think about that. Maybe how something should happen isn't how it would happen if we only knew what could happen instead. I like to throw little brain teasers in here for you. But we don't ever know what should happen because we don't know what could happen. And when we refuse all the possible could happens, we don't see what does happen in our favor. We're blind to the good that comes from it. We can't control what happens, only how we choose to see what does. Another thing I say is, we can't control what happens, only how we respond to what does. What if we allow things to unfold as they will and do? And what does happen is a better outcome than we would have even known to ask for. And it sends our life into a better trajectory than would have if this particular event didn't happen. Who knows? And why concern yourself with what we won't ever know for sure? Lao Tzu, founder of Taoism and author of Tao Te Ching, says, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like." I learned of a story recently, really fascinating, from Success Magazine. Sean Stevenson, self-help author and motivational speaker, if you don't know who he is, Google him, was diagnosed with brutal bone disease at birth. In the 4th grade, he was celebrating and anticipating Halloween festivities, trick-or-treating, putting on costumes, and he bent his leg and snapped his left femur bone. In excruciating pain, he screams in anger. His mom looked at him very calmly and without emotion and asked him, "Sean, is this going to be a gift or a burden in your life?" And from that point, at just 9 years old, this young boy decided it would be a gift. Sean regained clarity and decided that he loved his life amidst his pain. And from then on, he went on a mission to rid the world of insecurity, which is his self-proclaimed purpose and renowned speaking platform still to this day. Only good flows into the universe. There's no opposite of the divine. Only what we fathom is not divine. But there's only good. There's only love. There's only peace. There's only that flows. I heard it said once that to experience the opposite of good is really only the resistance to good. Suffering only comes from resisting. Love flows, ego resists. Kindness flows, ego resists. Peace flows, ego resists. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We can't control anything but how we perceive and interpret what does happen. So on that level, we create our future, our destiny, because what we focus on will persist. What we see, quote unquote, determines our experience and thereby our pain. We can do all the law of attraction and polarity work in the world, but we won't ever be able to predict the package of what we attract comes in. Our only work in this life is to go with the flow and not resist. Accept, decide, and step forward. When we're surrendered to flow, we're surrendered to God. Life ebbs and flows. Everything moves on if we let it. As the Bible and Eckhart Tolle say, this too shall pass. So let it pass. In honor of today's episode, no more weekly challenges. We have enough to deal with without adding a challenge every week. I say that because chances are you've given the word challenge a definition that involves stress, struggle, pain, effort, difficulty, which doesn't really have to be the case. Once we stop resisting challenges or seeing anything as a challenge really, and instead we see everything as an opportunity, we will start to see that everything flows perfectly. So let's now look at each week as a new opportunity to incorporate another aspect of spiritual living into our lives so that we're more free, more at peace, and more filled with genuine joy. So rather than challenge you, I invite you to add something new to your life every week. So based on the week's episode, we'll discover together a new, enlightened way of living. This week, we're going to practice being in flow. This could mean that when an event occurs that we don't like, we don't jump to any conclusion. We don't label it anything. When we experience good or quote unquote bad, we move with it. We don't resist it. And we let breath remind us of this. It may pause an occasional shock or surprise, but it goes right back to inhaling and exhaling. So this week, practice being in flow. seeing flow, seeing grace, beauty, kindness, love, instead of its opposite. Not always the easiest thing to do, but very possible with patience and practice. Take it from the story about the Zen master Hakuin in A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I'm going to read it directly from the book. The Zen master Hakuin lived in a town in Japan. He was held in high regard, and many people came to him for spiritual teaching. Then it happened that the teenage daughter of his next-door neighbor became pregnant. When being questioned by her angry and scolding parents as to the identity of the father, she finally told them that he was Hakuin, the Zen master. In great anger, the parents rushed over to Hakuin and told him, with much shouting and accusing, that their daughter had confessed that he was the father. All he replied was, "Is that so?" News of the scandal spread throughout the town and beyond. The master lost his reputation. This did not trouble him. Nobody came to see him anymore. He remained unmoved. When the child was born, the parents brought the baby to Hakuin. "You are the father, so you look after him." The master took loving care of the child. A year later, the mother remorsefully confessed to her parents that the real father of the child was the young man who worked in the butcher shop. In great distress, they went to see Hakuin to apologize and ask for forgiveness. "We are really sorry. We have come to take the baby back. Our daughter confessed that you are not the father." "Is that so?" is all he would say as he handed the baby over back to them. The master responds to falsehood and truth, bad news and good news in exactly the same way. Is that so? He allows the form of the moment, good or bad, to be as it is, and so does not become participant in human drama. To him, there is only this moment, and this moment is as it is. Events are not personalized. He is nobody's victim. He is so completely at one with what happens that what happens has no power over him anymore. Only if you resist what happens are you at the mercy of what happens, and the world will determine your happiness and unhappiness. The baby is looked over with loving care. Bad turns into good through the power of non-resistance. Always responding to what the present moment requires, he lets go of the baby when it is time to do so. Until next time, my dear Zen masters, go and flow. Peace and light.